Welcome back to From the Bookshelf for another book club episode. We are back with City of Bones. Before I get started, I just wanted to say sorry for missing the last week. I had family in town and I was a little bit busy and wasn't able to get these uploads done. However, I am back at it and I'll be doing lots of filming and I'll be able to get a lot of them done so that doesn't happen again. So go ahead and like and comment on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to get notifications for any upcoming videos in the book club series, as well as my weekly downloads talking about the books I've been reading. So this episode, we are going to be talking about chapters 16 and 17 of City of Bones. So let's get started. So chapter 16, Falling Angels. So we're going to start on page 295, right at the beginning of the chapter. So what we see here is Jace, Clary, and Simon getting back to the Institute after rescuing Simon from the vampires. And what we see is Hodge. It says this about him. He launched into a lecture that would have done Clary's mother proud. He didn't forget to include the part about lying to him about where they were going, which Jace apparently had, or the part about never trusting Jace again, and even added extra embellishments, like bits about breaking the law, getting tossed out of the clave, and bringing shame on the proud ancient name of Wayland. So this part's a little interesting because, I realize they're not like 18 yet and official members of the clave, but they're old enough to go out and patrol and to, fight demons and rogue downworlders and stuff like that. So it's their job, their mandate to protect mundanes. So here Jace is going out and protecting a mundane, saving him from vampires where they essentially kidnapped him. And here Hodge is getting mad at him and lecturing him about shaming the name of Wayland. It's like, well, isn't he doing what Shadowhunter is supposed to do? Isn't that literally what's going on here? So I don't know. I find it interesting that he's getting so upset. Is he upset because he almost got killed? Is he upset because he lied to him? I don't really know, because it sounds like what Jace was doing was what Shadowhunters are supposed to do, right? So I don't know. I found that like a little interesting way to react in that situation. So we're going to move on to page 297. So in this, we see kind of how Clary feels towards Simon, because there's this, huge part of the fan base who thinks like Clary and Simon would be such a cute couple. But in this, we kind of see how Clary feels about him in his actions toward her. To her surprise, he leaned forward and kissed her on the cheek. It was a butterfly kiss, a quick brush of lips on skin. But as she pulled away, she knew she was blushing. Probably, she thought, standing up because of the way everyone else was staring at them. So, obviously is the fact that everyone's watching this and she feels super embarrassed. But it's the fact that she's embarrassed. Like, she doesn't think of Simon in a way as more than a friend. He's her friend, her brother. Like, he's like the closest thing to a brother that she's ever known. And she doesn't have feelings like that. But obviously Simon does, but she doesn't. And I think even if everyone wasn't there watching, she'd still be embarrassed. Because, if she actually had those kind of feelings, she probably wouldn't be embarrassed over such a quick, almost innocent type kiss if people were or weren't watching. So the fact that she's so embarrassed by this tiny little action kind of speaks volumes about how she feels about him and how she doesn't feel about him, which I think a lot of people kind of miss those subtle interactions, and it's one of the things I really like. So let's move on to our next spot on page 298. So in this section, we see Alec confronting Clary about the two of them. By the two of them, I mean Jace and Clary going off to save Simon from the vampires. He's basically telling her she needs to leave the Institute. She needs to go somewhere else because she doesn't belong there and all of that. And he says, when she says that Hodge wants her to stay, Alex says he can't possibly. Not after what you've done. What I've done, he swallowed hard. You almost got Jace killed. What are you talking about? running off after your friend like that, do you know how much danger you put him in? So this is interesting. Like, I agree with Clary. This is not her fault. Like, Jace running off and being reckless is not her fault. Would he have gone off and tried to save Simon if Clary wasn't involved? Probably not. However, whether Clary went with him or not, he probably would have gone off and done it on his own, because that's what Jace does. He's reckless and impulsive, and he doesn't think, and I think Alec knows this, and I think that this anger at her for him nearly getting killed is less about Jace's actions to save Simon and the fact that he didn't, you know, bring him with him, and that he's jealous of Jace's attention towards Clary. But it's like, it's kind of not fair to blame her for this situation, saying, well, you're dangerous, you're putting Jace in these dangerous situations. Jace puts himself in these dangerous situations. He 100% does not need anybody else's help getting himself into these situations and these problems. He's perfectly capable of it on his own. So let's move on. So then we're going to go over to page 299. There's several different things happening on this page. It's we're still in the same scene with Clary and Alec, and just several things happening. Lots going on right now that there is to talk about. So so this first part, let me just read it real quick. Alec's control shattered. Because he left me behind, he shouted. See, left him behind. Let me keep reading. Normally, I'd be with him, covering him, watching his back, keeping him safe. But you're dead weight, a mundane. He spit the word out as if it were an obscenity. No, Clary said, I'm not. I'm Nephilim, just like you. His lip curled up at the corner. Maybe, he said, but with no training, no nothing. You're still not much use, are you? So you read this, and like, Alec is one of those characters that people love. Like, they adore him. He's like a fan favorite across the board. He's not my favorite. I love Alec. He's like definitely in the top 5 characters, but this particular scene with him, just like the way Isabel acts a lot in this book, he's very unlikable. Like, if you really read this, he's literally attacking Clary because he's jealous for no more reason. This isn't about her and Jace maybe having feelings for her. This is 100% Alec's jealousy, and he's literally attacking her for it. He's treating her like, well, like crap. Like, she's this non-existent entity and she's not worth his time simply because Jace is showing interest in her. And it's horrible. It's not nice. He's not nice. He's just mean for no other reason than I don't know. It's like unthinkable that, you know, when you're reading this, you see this, that he's not being the friendly, lovable Alec. I mean, like, stern and aloof and kind of like and his like occupying his own little space. Like, he's never like putting out emotion quite so much as other characters. He does later in other books, but the fact that he's attacking her like this, it's just crazy and very unlikable, which is the point. So let's keep reading on kind of his still in Alec's speech here. So he's continue on telling Clary that she doesn't belong there at the Institute. Not here. Making Jace act like he isn't one of us. Making him break his oath to the Clave. Making him break the law. Newsflash, Clary snapped. I don't make Jace do anything. He does what he wants. You ought to know that. And 2 things real quick. And that's the truth. Like I was saying, you know, previously, she's not making him do anything. Alec knows that when Jace sets his mind to something, he does it no matter what. But my thing here is we're back to this idea that Jace is breaking his oath as a shadow hunter. He's breaking the law. He's, you know, going against the Clave. But protecting mundanes and saving mundanes is their oath. That's literally what they do. So how is he breaking his oath? And again, they weren't trespassing, as we discussed extensively in a previous episode when we were talking about the Hotel du Mort and the vampires. They were given permission by Raphael, basically the head of the vampire clan, to be in that building. Despite what everyone thinks, they were not trespassing, which means they were not breaking the accords. They were not breaking the law, which means they were allowed to be there. So he didn't break his oath. He didn't break the law. Alec's just jealous. And it's not very flattering. So one more thing. This is an interesting thing. So pay attention close to what I read. He looked at her as if she was an especially disgusting kind of demon he'd never seen before. You mundanes are completely selfish, aren't you? Have you no idea what he's done for you? What kind of personal risk he's taken? I'm not just talking about his safety. He could lose everything. He already lost his father and mother. Do you want to make sure he loses the family he's got left as well? I'm not sure exactly what Alec means here by this, but it sounds like he's implying that if Jace does something the Clave doesn't approve of, that the Lightwoods would turn their back on him. Because, I mean, think about it. Do you want to make sure he loses the family he's got left as well? He's not saying, do you want to make sure he dies? But that he loses his family? Like, how is he going to lose his family unless you abandon him? Unless you leave and are no longer his family? So I'm just not sure what he's implying by this statement. Like, so he's saying Jace lost his mother and father already, which he has, because they're dead. So is he saying Clary's actions are going to get the Lightwoods killed? They're going to get Jace killed? They're going to make Jace do something that the Lightwoods are not going to forgive him for? Because, I mean, if he's their family, that shouldn't matter. Like, him doing something stupid shouldn't matter. So I really don't know what this is implying or alluding to. If you have any ideas about what you think it means, please comment down below and let me know. I'd love to hear what you think, because to me it sounds like he's saying Jace could do something that the Lightwoods would turn their back on. I don't know though. So let me know what you think. So let's go to page 300. And more Alec. I mean, he's just kind of in a mood right now. Not very likable mood either. So what we see here, Clary picks up on all these things that I've talked about, that Alec's not really angry about the situation so much as she's jealous, right? Because Clary says, but if you were honest, you'd admit this tantrum is just because you're in love with him. It doesn't have anything to do with, and then she stops. He interrupts her. But, so she says it, you're in love with him, you're jealous. And this is what Alec does in response. Alec moved, blindingly fast. A sharp crack resounded through her head. He had shoved her against the wall so hard, the back of her skull had struck the wood paneling. His face was inches from hers. His face was inches from hers, eyes huge and black. Don't you ever, he whispered, mouth a blanched line, ever say anything like that to him or I'll kill you. I swear on the angel, I'll kill you. So first, he assaults her, and then, taking the Shadowhunter's most sacred oath, threatens to kill her. Someone he considers a mundane and a little girl, he literally physically assaulted and then threatens to kill her. And he doesn't just threaten, like, taking that oath of the angel, as Jace has already displayed, is a kind of promise you don't break. You don't go back on that. It's something I think has a bond. When you take that as like a bond you can't break, or causes something. I don't really know, but it sounds like it's the kind of promise and bond that you don't make unless you plan on keeping it. So it basically says, if you say anything, I will kill you, using this oath. And it's like, that's a little bit extreme, right? I think all of you had said anything a little less drastic, asking her not to say anything, she would have not said anything. I don't think you needed to threaten to kill her and physically assault her. Like, she probably has a concussion after that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Because, I mean, Shadowhunters are, like, super strong, and she wasn't expecting being thrown into the wall, probably cracking her head open. Not open, but you know what I mean. But yeah, like, it doesn't make me like him. It doesn't make me want to like him. It makes me think, wow, what an a-hole. But I think he redeems himself for me in a bit. But it was just like this scene, I was like, are you serious? Like, you're supposed to be the good guy, Alec. And there you are attacking someone. Or here you are attacking Clary for what? Calling out your BS? Let's move on to page 306. So, Jace is kind of standing outside the room Clary is staying in. And she says, what are you doing here anyway? And he says this. Here, as in your bedroom, or here, as in the great spiritual question of our purpose here on this planet. If you're asking whether it's all just a cosmic coincidence or there's a greater meta-ethical purpose of life, well, that's a puzzler for the ages. I mean, simple ontological reductionism is clearly a fallacious argument, but I'm going to bed. Clary reached for the doorknob. This is just an example of Jace making these really off-the-wall, like, jokes that nobody thinks is funny except Jace. Like, his humor is hilarious. It cracks me up sometimes. Like, this, like, doesn't sound funny. It's just, like, him going philosophical, but it's, like, I don't think he really means it. He's just trying to be funny, but failing miserably. So let's move on, which means we're going to start with chapter 17, The Midnight Flower. So page 310. Okay, so this section is a little bit of a spoiler for kind of the end of the book, or at least events going on at the end of the book. So if you don't want these spoilers, go ahead and skip to the next page point. If you've read the book already, then you already know. Please stick with us and we'll read. So Jace is talking about how when he was 5, he wanted for his birthday to bathe in spaghetti, and he got it. And he had the servants fill a bath with boiling water and pasta, and when it cooled down, he shrugged, I took a bath in it. And Claire's thinking, servants? Out loud, so she's thinking, servants? That's weird. Like, who has servants? I also think that's weird, because, here's the spoiler, Jace was, up until he was 10, was raised by Valentine Morgenstern, the big bad guy. So why would Valentine have servants? Servants talk. So the fact that they would know he's Valentine, because he does not look like Michael Wayland. Despite what the show thinks, they cannot change the way they look. He only has one appearance, and that is as Valentine Morgenstern, no matter what name he uses. So why would he have servants when they could go talk and spread the fact that Valentine is alive? Because we know he's still got followers around, but his most ardent followers aren't clearly the servants, because Jace believes those are the ones that killed his father. So why have servants when it could just give away your secret? Seems kind of like a stupid move. But that's just me, right? So let's move on to page 311. So Jace says this about himself. When I was 10 years old, that was the first time I'd ever met another child my own age. The first time I had a friend. So when he met Alec and Isabel, that was the first time he had ever a friend. But not just a friend. The first time he'd ever met another child, which means he had never met another child in 10 years. Never been socialized with children. Anything. How is he not the most socially inept person in this book? How is he so social and charming and able to do things and get away with things when, based on the way he was raised, he should be like the most socially inept human being ever in this book series? Because he wasn't raised with people. He wasn't raised with kids his own age. How would he know how to interact and act? Like, that's not something you just learn when you're 10 years old. That's why parents socialize their children, so that they learn those social behaviors as a child, not as a 10-year-old. Like, it's gonna be pretty crazy by then. or not crazy, but just his social skills are going to be pretty lacking at that point. So it just seems strange to me that he's not more socially awkward as it comes to other people due to this fact. So let's move to page 317. So this kind of just, so this part is just kind of a look at, you know, the characters' personalities and stuff like that. So Clary is outside her door with Jace, and he's about to kiss her, and Simon comes out of her room. Jace says this, "In future, Clarissa," he said, "it might be wise to mention that you already have a man in your bed to avoid such tedious situations." "You invited him to bed?" Simon demanded, looking shaken. "Ridiculous, isn't it?" said Jace. "We would never have all fit. I didn't invite him into bed," Clary snapped. "We were just kissing." So one, Simon is like super dense. He's like so blind to the obvious. Like, clearly she didn't invite him to bed. I mean, just because Jace says something, that doesn't automatically make it true. I think we should know this by now. And Simon just, I think, hears what he wants to hear sometimes, and if it's not what he wants to hear, he just assumes the worst about it. And I think that's something Simon does a lot in this series, because it's kind of who Simon is he's very logical in his thinking. And second thing is that Jace is a sarcastic ass. Like, he is purposely trying to annoy Simon. He's purposely trying to like poke at Clary, even though they're having this moment. And now he's like, oh, well, Simon's here. Well, now I need to like make things worse. I don't get that. But like the sarcasm is at another level. Let's move to page 319. So Simon says this about Jace, right? Clary says that, "I know you don't like him," referring to Jace. And Simon says, "No." Simon said even more stiffly, "I don't like flat soda. I don't like crappy boy band pop. I don't like being stuck in traffic. I don't like math homework. I hate Jace." See the difference? And Simon says this, but that's the thing, is he doesn't hate Jace. He doesn't know Jace. Just like Alec doesn't know Clary, so he doesn't hate her. Simon doesn't hate Jace. He's just jealous of him. He's jealous of Clary's attention towards him. He's jealous just as Alec is jealous. That's not hate. Jealousy, while it's interconnected, is not the same thing. Like, he doesn't hate him, just like Alec doesn't hate Clary. And we see this as both of them get past said jealousy and are able to have such strong relationships and friendships with the opposing character. You know, Alec and Clary, Jason, Simon, they have those friendships later on in the series because they're able to get past that jealousy because they don't actually hate them. It's just overly dramatic Simon, overly dramatic Alec, which is kind of weird. You wouldn't think of Alec as overly dramatic, but clearly he is. Let's move on to page 320. So here we have Simon explaining to Clary why he was flirting with Isabel. He says, "I was trying to make you jealous," Simon screamed right back. His hands were fists at his side. "You're so stupid, Clary. You're so stupid. Can't you see anything?" So you're telling me because Clary doesn't have feelings for you, she's stupid? She's not allowed to have her own opinion, her own feelings, because you decide... Sorry, let me start over. So because Simon decides he's in love with Clary, that she automatically has to love him back. If not, she's stupid. And the fact that she's just friends with him, that makes her stupid. You're so stupid. How can you not love me back? I love you so much. How can you not love me? It's like, she doesn't have to love you. That's her choice, her feelings. And you calling her stupid because she doesn't have feelings for you, that's just kind of a dick move. Like, you're being a jerk. And it's not nice. Like, she's your friend, your best friend, and you're basically calling her names because she doesn't have feelings for you. Like, dude, not cool. Our last point on page 321, it's kind of the same situations. It's part of the same scene. So Simon is telling Clary that he loves her, and she doesn't know what to say, right? She's like, you're my brother. I don't know what to say. She doesn't say anything he says. So it says this, talking about Simon. He paused at the door, hand on the knob, and turned to look at her. His eyes behind the glasses looked more tired than angry now. You really want to know what else it was my mom said about you? He asked. She shook her head. He didn't seem to notice. She said you'd break my heart, he told her, and then left. Like, that is just, now you're just being mean to be mean. She's not required to be in love with you, Simon. It's not her fault you're in love with her. It's not her fault you have these feelings that she can't reciprocate, that she doesn't reciprocate. Like, you're basically in your position telling her she has to feel that way and how horrible she is for not feeling that way, how horrible she is because my mom said you'd break my heart. It's like, why would you say that if she's your friend? Like, you're just being mean. Like, mean. Why is everybody being so mean and like ridiculous? But we're just gonna end it there because people are being ridiculous, right? All right, so that's it for this week, or for this episode. We'll see you later this week for the next part, and we'll look at a couple more chapters. And go ahead and leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought. Do you agree, disagree? Did I miss anything in these chapters? Anything you want to talk about? Go ahead and let me know. Love to hear it. And let's talk. So I will see you next time.